Everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. All right, John, who are you here on?
Sorry, Your Honor. I am here on Mr. Thomas McClendon. That would be case 23 TR 3017. DUI first appearance. We don't even have a DA yet.
Mr. Canfield is present.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I see him now.
All right, this is the first appearance docket for Butler County, Kansas, November 8th, 2023. First case we'll take up is State of Kansas versus Thomas Lee McClendon, 23 TR 3017. Council announce appearances, please.
Good afternoon. May it please the court. State appears by Assistant County Attorney Devin Canfield.
May it please the court, John Stang on behalf of Mr. McClendon, who is seated behind me in my office. If I move over this way, you can see him better.
Okay, I see him there. We are here for first appearance. Does he need the charges read to him, Mr. Stang?
No, Your Honor, we would waive a formal reading.
And how do you wish to proceed?
We could enter a plea of not guilty and continue this over to the misdemeanor docket. This is Mr. Levitt's case, so he can have a chance to speak with the county assistant county attorney who's on the case. Mr. Canfield, is that going to be you or Mr. Sweeney or Mr. Regier, if you know?
It will be Mr. Sweeney's case.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll show a not guilty plea being entered, and I'll set this case for February 12th at 9 o'clock in front of Judge Webster, and that hearing will be conducted by Zoom.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
And he appears here on a summons.
Yes, sir.
Your Canfield, what's your recommendation for bond?
State is requesting a $1,000 OR bond, Your Honor.
All right, I will set a bonding amount of $1,000 OR.
I believe he's been already processed. He was given a first appearance date that was switched, if I recall.
Okay, so he's had his prints and fingerprint or prints and.
You went out to the jail that night, didn't you? You got printed. Yes, yeah, he did.
All right. As a condition of bond, Mr. McClendon, you're not to possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs. Any other matters we need to address on this case, Mr. Canfield?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Stang?
No, Your Honor, I did find the bond in this case. It was actually, he signed it for $1,500. It was signed on the 6th day of August, 2023. It had a first appearance date of November 1st, and that got switched by summons. Does he need to go back out to the jail and get reprocessed, or are we good at this stage?
Well, if he's already made a bond, I wouldn't think so. Or because of the computer system, I don't have that here in my file,
Okay.
but if he's already posted a bond,
Yes.
I think that'd be necessary.
It looks like it was Maury. Does that make sense? Surety's name?
Yes,
Ryan Maury.
yes, and we did check with the jail. He's been fingerprint processed and bonded already.
Okay.
All
I guess-
right, well, we'll be
Thank
in
you.
recess. Thank you, Mr. Stang. You both are excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you're there at the jail. Let's take up your case. This is State of Kansas versus Blake Neal Johnson, 23 TR 1864. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Johnson appears in person in custody from the Butler County Jail. Mr. Johnson, it looks like you failed to appear in Judge Webster's court back on October 25th.
Yes, sir. There was a couple of different things that played into that factor, and how it got overlooked. So I had court in Valley Center the same day. Also, I had a Butler County court date on the 30th that I was present on, and with her present. And I called up to the court clerk, and she said the system's been down. I don't know, county-wide or statewide or something like that, and so they're having to do it all manually. And nothing was ever said about the 25th, and it was just the 30th, and I was present on the 30th court date.
All right, Mr. Johnson, what I'm going to do, Judge Webster ordered a no bond hold on you based on that failure to appear. You can explain all that to her at your next court date, which will be November 13th at 9 o'clock.
Sir, I have eye surgery. This was wrong. I had eye surgery on Monday, and then I have it again on Friday. They've called my doctor and everything. They've confirmed it, and I have medical drops and stuff. I don't have any vision. I lost vision in my eye within a week. They're trying to let me get at least some vision back. But now I can see nothing out of this side of my eye right here.
Is there an attorney representing you currently?
And she gave me an attorney, Thomas Crum or Darren Crum.
Darren Patterson?
Yes, that's it. Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge Webster's the one who ordered this bond, so she's the one who will have to modify it. You'll need to get with Mr. Patterson. Perhaps he can get something in front of Judge Webster to see if she could modify the bond, but it's her bond, her order, so I'm not going to modify it.
When would she be available?
I don't know. I would try to get in touch with your attorney. Perhaps he can get something going for you.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, Mr. Canfield, anything further on Mr. Johnson's case?
Your Honor, I'm not seeing that Mr. Patterson was appointed in this case. So just for record's sake, if he was not already, he is now, correct?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
So you don't show anything that would have Darren Patterson being appointed?
I do not, Your Honor. I'm only seeing 2 prior failure to appears. I'm not seeing that Patterson was ever appointed on this case, but I'm not sure if there are others pending.
It was the one on the 30th. There was a case number PR 1230.
Okay, well, if he hasn't been appointed on this case, I will appoint him today. So then he can represent you on this as well as any other matters that he's representing you on. So, all right, if there's nothing further, we'll be in recess. Mr. Johnson, you are excused. Thank you. Good afternoon. Are you Garrett Rollins?
Yes, sir.
All right, next case is State of Kansas versus Garrett Austin Rollins, 23 TR 2616. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Rollins appears from the Butler County Jail in custody. All parties appearing by Zoom. Mr. Rollins, it looked like you also failed to appear in front of Judge Webster. That would have been on October 30th. A bond's already been set by Judge Webster in the amount of $3,000 cash or surety. So I'm not going to modify her bond.
Could I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
So I'm supposed to go to rehab Friday at Valley Hope and Mountain Ridge. I've called my mom and dad. They can't come co-sign for my bond. since I have to have a cosigner. I have the money to bond out, but I have to have a cosigner. The bondsman said if it was dropped to 1,000, I could bond out. Is there any way you could put on there, like drop it to 1,000 and then put on like a bond, like saying I have to, finish my rehab, and they could send that to the courts?
I can't do that. Judge Webster is the one who set this bond, and the reason she set it at that amount was because you failed to appear in court. Basically, she doubled the bond. So in essence, that's the price you pay for not making it to court. So this case will be set back in front of Judge Webster on February the 12th at 9 a.m. That'll be done by Zoom. Are you representing yourself in this case, or do you have an attorney?
Well, I mean, if I can get out of here, I'll get my own attorney, but if I can't get out of here, I guess, I don't know. I guess it depends.
All right. Well, I won't appoint an attorney for you at this point. If you can't make bond and you wish to apply for court-appointed counsel, I believe they have some forms there at the jail you can fill out.
Okay.
So, Mr. Canfield, anything further on this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Rollins, you are excused. Thank you. Are you Malaya Drake? All right, we'll go on the record in State of Kansas versus Malaya Marie Drake, 23 TR 2344. The state appears by Devin Canfield. The defendant, Malaya Drake, appears in custody from the Butler County Jail. All parties are appearing by Zoom. Ms. Drake, you also failed to appear in front of Judge Webster back on November the 1st. Judge Webster ordered that she be held without bond till she can see you again. And you will see her on November the 13th at 9 o'clock in the morning by Zoom. November 13th at 9 o'clock.
Is there I don't know how to explain it. Kind of my situation at home, I just had a baby. So, that's kind of why I wasn't able to make it. I tried calling to reschedule, and when I did, they said that the district court was down, their computers. So I had to call up to the jail to see when my court date was, and when I called, they had said it was on the 1st. And it's been kind of everywhere, but I know everybody wants to get out, but I really need to get home to my baby.
Okay, well, again, Judge Webster is the judge who sets your bond, and she ordered a no bond hold, so I'm not going to modify that. You'll have court this coming Monday morning. Are you representing yourself?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be in recess. Are you Sheldon flying out?
Robert Pullman.
All right, we'll go on the record in State of Kansas versus Robert Kenton Pullman Jr., 23 CR 300,027. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Pullman appears in custody from the Butler County Jail. All parties appearing by Zoom. Mr. Pullman, you're here for a first appearance. Do you have a copy of your charges?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll go through those with you. Each one of these three charges is alleged to have occurred on November 7th, 2023 in Butler County, Kansas. Count one alleges that you were in unlawful possession of methamphetamine. That is a level 5 drug felony. Count two alleges you were in unlawful possession of a glass pipe, which is possession of paraphernalia for use. That's a class B non-person misdemeanor. Count three, you're charged with driving while suspended, first time offense. That is also a class B non-person misdemeanor. Do you understand your charges?
Yes, sir.
All right, since you do have a felony count, you won't be asked to enter a plea today. This case has been set in front of myself. Your next hearing will be on my preliminary hearing control docket on January the 8th at 2:30. That hearing will be conducted by Zoom. January the 8th at 2:30. Do you intend to hire an attorney to represent you?
I'm gonna try. Not sure if I can afford one, but I'll try.
Do you understand that if you can't afford to hire an attorney, one would be appointed for you?
Yes, sir.
Do you wish to apply for court-appointed counsel now, or are you going to try to
Yeah,
hire?
let me go ahead and try for the court appointed. If I can't get it, I'll have to work harder to get the attorney on the other side.
Okay. Are you currently employed?
Yes, sir.
Where do you work?
For M&D painting.
And how long have you worked there?
I've been over there for 3-4 months.
Okay. Were you working prior to that?
I had been unemployed for a time, but I've been employed pretty much consistent for the last 10 years.
Do you know what your approximate gross monthly income is?
Probably about 1,800.
Okay. Do you have dependents that you support financially?
I'm supporting my fiance who's on disability. She's trying to get disability right now. She had cancer and she's trying to get disability, so she doesn't have any income. So basically, I'm supporting her.
All right. I'll find that you partially qualify for court-appointed counsel. I'll appoint James Watts to represent you.
Okay.
Now, understand that depending on what happens with your case, you may be ordered to pay back some or all of his fees. Do you understand that?
I do understand, sir.
All right. We next need to set a bond. Mr. Canfield, state's recommendation.
State is requesting a $3,000 cash surety bond as well as no drugs or alcohol.
Mr. Pullman, where do you live?
In Augusta,
Okay. How long have you lived there?
I've been over in Augusta for 3 years now.
Okay. And do you have, besides your fiance, do you have other family members in Butler County or the Augusta
I'm
area?
in Butler County now. My little brother lives in Sedgwick.
Okay. The employer that you work for, where is that out of?
He's out of Sedgwick. He's in Wichita.
Okay. Mr. Canfield, do your records show any history of failure to appear?
I am not seeing any on this case, Your Honor, but I have not looked through any other criminal history on this matter.
Okay. I'm going to set bond at 2,000 cash or surety. As a condition of bond, you're not to possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Pullman, they should have given you, or they will give you, Mr. Watts's office phone number.
You did, sir.
If you're able to make bond, you need to call his office and give them your contact information.
Okay.
All right, anything else on Mr. Pullman's case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Pullman, you are excused. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is flying out.
All right, you're Sheldon flying out. That camera's muted.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll go on the record in State of Kansas versus Sheldon Tyler flying out 23 CR 300,025. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Flying Out appears in custody from the Butler County Jail. All parties appearing by Zoom. Mr. Flying Out, you're here for first appearance. Do you have a copy of your charges yet?
Can I say something, Your Honor? I've had my first appearance for this 7 months ago, exactly yesterday. I've been in this county jail for 7 months for this case.
Mr. Canfield, do you have any?
And my court was set for the 17th and 28th of this month. That's why I was shocked whenever they said I was coming to court today for this exact same charges that I was here for are already on.
All right, just a second, Mr. Flying Out. I'll see if Mr. Canfield has any information for me.
Yes, Your Honor. It appears that this case was originally filed as a traffic case because my office was waiting on additional information. Then to amend the complaint, we were told we would have to dismiss the entire case before refiling as a criminal case. We did that, and we did not, I do not believe that the jail was informed. So that is the reason that he has been in custody for this amount of time. But this is the first appearance on the criminal case.
But when did he make that? He made a first appearance under the old case number?
Yes, Your Honor, in a traffic case as it was filed back then.
And what was the date on that?
It appears that the first appearance was on May 8th of this year.
You've been sitting in here since May 8th?
I haven't, my lawyer hasn't talked to me or nothing. I haven't seen him I've seen him one time, and that was for my court on, I had court for this and all the other stuff on July 24th, and they still didn't tell me nothing, and it got continued on until November 17th to 28th. And my lawyer still hasn't talked to me, seen me or anything in that. And today, like, if it was going to be my lawyer, I was firing him because, like, I've had no counsel help or nothing. And I've been sitting in C-Pod Max this whole entire time on these charges. And so, with not knowing anything that's going on.
Mr. Canfield, when was the other case dismissed? Do you have that info?
Let me take a look, Your Honor. It looks like that previous case was 23 TR 1680. The dismissal journal entry was filed on October 30th of this year.
All right. Well, Mr. Flying Out, I'm going to go over these charges with you under this case number. Sounds like perhaps they were read to you before, but for purposes of the record, I'm going to go over them with you again.
All right.
There's quite a few.
Yeah, there's 14. I see. When there's 14 on them, and that's what it said in the computer the whole entire time. But when I came to court, like my first appearance, they read all 14. Then when we went to court on the 24th, they only read 3, and they were only charging me for 3. And Watts asked me if I had stuff amended, and I was like, no, I haven't had no contact with nobody. And he said we should just go to court then with those 3 and be done with it. But then I continued it out, and now this is happening.
Okay. Well, each of these counts is alleged to have occurred on May 7th, 2023 in Butler County, Kansas.
Yep.
Count 1, it's alleged that you were in unlawful possession of scales with powder substance. That's possession of paraphernalia to distribute or manufacture. That's a level 5 drug felony. Count 2, you're charged with recklessly causing bodily harm with a deadly weapon against Melody Brown, wherein great bodily harm, disfigurement, or death could have been inflicted by means of an automobile. That's aggravated battery. That's a level 8 person felony. Count 3 also charges aggravated battery, alleged victim In that charge, Brett Steiger also alleged to have occurred with the car, again, aggravated battery, level 8, person felony. Count 4, you're charged with criminal damage to property, a level 9, non-person felony, for allegedly causing damage to a driver's side door and mirror on a Dodge Ram truck belonging to Brett Steiger. Alleged value at least $1,000, but less than $25,000. Count 5 alleges unlawfully and knowingly damaging, destroying, defacing, or impairing the use of a F-150 truck by running into the back of it, causing it to wreck into a ditch. That vehicle belonging to Melody Brown has a value of at least $1,000, less than $25,000. That's criminal damage to property, a level 9 non-person felony. Count 6 alleges interference with law enforcement, a level 9 non-person felony. Count 7 alleges fleeing or attempting to elude an officer by reckless driving. That's a level 9 person felony. Count 8, you're charged with leaving the scene of an accident. That is a class A non-person misdemeanor. Count 9, you're charged with driving while your license is suspended or canceled. First time offense, that's a class B non-person misdemeanor. Count 10 alleges you're operating a motor vehicle without proof of insurance. That's a first offense, class B non-person misdemeanor. Count 11, you're charged with failing or the duty to give information after an accident. And it alleges that you unlawfully drove a motor vehicle, a silver Mazda 6, which was involved in an accident resulting in damage to vehicle or property, being a white Ram truck belonging to Brett Steiger, and failing to give your name, address, and registration number. That's an unclassified misdemeanor. Count 12, you're charged with reckless driving, first offense. That's an unclassified misdemeanor. Count 13, it's alleged that you operated a motor vehicle with an expired tag or registration, first time offense. That is an unclassified misdemeanor. Count 14 alleges you are speeding 60 miles an hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. Do you understand your charges, Mr. Flying Out?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, this case has been assigned to Judge Hart. Your next court date will be February the 5th at 2:30 in the afternoon. That'll be done by Zoom. That's Judge Hart's felony preliminary hearing control docket. February 5th at 2:30.
Can I get a different lawyer?
Who was appointed to represent you on the old case?
James Watts. And he hasn't helped me at all or done anything or spoke to me or wrote, like, sent me paperwork or nothing. Like, I was gonna fire him at court. So if there's any way I can get different counsel, that'd be really nice. I've been sitting here 7 months and not even a word of anything that's going on.
Well, Mr. Watts has a contract with the county. Perhaps since it's been refiled, you'll have a fresh start on getting everything worked out.
No, I've tried calling him. I've tried sending him letters. I've tried having my people getting a hold of him. Nothing.
Where do you live, Mr. Flying Out?
I live in Barber County, Medicine Lodge, Kansas.
Okay, how long have you lived there?
I've lived there since I was a kid, since I was born, and back and forth off and on from Wichita to Medicine Lodge, and I just moved back home.
Do you have any relatives in this area?
I don't have no one up here. I've been up here for 7 months with only $20-$30 on my books. This whole entire time. Nobody.
What? Do you have work to go to?
Yes, I have a job at a tire shop and everything.
And how long have you worked there?
I've worked there for 3 months before I came in, and I've talked to my boss since I've been here.
Okay, what I'm gonna do, Mr. Flying Out, in light of the circumstances, I'm gonna set a $5,000 OR bond. I'm appointing James Watts to represent you. If you're welcome to hire an attorney of your choosing, but Mr. Watts is appointed for you at this point, so.
Is that, sorry, go ahead. I apologize.
Do you have any other holds on you?
I have a Harvey County hold, but they already have a bond and a warrant, a bond on top of the warrant for that. So I'll be able to bond out of both.
Okay, well, once you're released from custody, you need to call Mr. Watts's office, give him your contact information of where you're gonna be.
All right. All right.
Mr. Canfield, anything you would add?
Your Honor, I would request no contact orders with the victims Brett Steiger and Melody Brown, as well as no drugs or alcohol.
That'll be the order of the court.
Does that 5,000 bond take over the last bond that I've been sitting here on?
It sounds like that case was dismissed,
Dismissed, so, all right.
but again, I don't have any of that paperwork in front of me. I'm just relying on what I've been told here today in court, so.
All right.
All right, they should have written that court date down and they should have Mr. Watts's information for you.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, we'll be in recess. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Are you Aaron Browder?
Yes, sir.
Next case on the docket is State of Kansas versus Aaron Lee Browder, 23 CR 300,028. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Browder appears in custody from the Butler County Jail. All parties appearing by Zoom. Mr. Browder, do you have a copy of your charges?
Yes, sir.
All right, there's just one count. Alleges that on November 7th, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, that you did knowingly in a rude, insulting, or angry manner impede the normal breathing or circulation of the blood by blocking the nose or mouth of a person. It's alleged that you punched and choked Sylvia Owens, with whom you had been involved or are involved in a dating relationship or as a family or household member. That's aggravated domestic battery, a level 7 person felony. Do you understand what you've been charged with, Mr. Browder?
Yes, sir.
All right, since this is a felony, you won't be asked to enter a plea today. Your case is been assigned to Judge Satterfield's court. Your next court date will be December 26th at 2:30 p.m. That'll be done by Zoom, December 26th at 2:30 in front of Judge Satterfield. Can you hire your own attorney?
No, I don't have the money.
Okay, do you wish to apply for court-appointed counsel?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you currently employed?
No, I'm not.
How long has it been since you've worked?
I just do little odds and end jobs like here and there if I can. It's been a while since I've had an actual job.
Okay. Do you have any sort of disability that prevents you from being able to be gainfully employed? I'll appoint James Watts to represent you. Depending on what happens on your case, you may be required to pay back some or all of his fees. Do you understand that?
Yes.
What's the state's recommendation for bond, Mr. Canfield?
State is recommending, due to the nature of the charges, a $7,500 cash surety bond, as well as no contact with the alleged victim, Sylvia Owens.
Where do you live, Mr. Browder?
I live in Augusta right now. Well, I was. I'm moving to mom or something, I guess. This is Wichita.
I'm gonna set bond at 7,500 cash or surety. As a condition of bond, you're to have no contact with Sylvia Owens.
Good.
Also, as a condition of bond, you're not to possess or use alcohol or illegal drugs. All right, anything else, Mr. Canfield?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Browder, you are excused. Thank you.
Hello?
Good afternoon. Are you Michael Centeno?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right, next case is State of Kansas versus Michael Angelo Centino, 23 CR 300,026. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Centeno appears in person from the Butler County Jail. You're here for a first appearance. Have you received your charges?
Yes.
All right, count one alleges that on November 6, 2023 in Butler County, Kansas, you did unlawfully possess methamphetamine. That is a level 5 drug felony. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
I know what I'm being charged, but I don't know the consequences.
Okay, well, a level 5 drug felony, if convicted, would carry, depending on your prior criminal history, a penalty of anywhere between 10 months and 42 months in prison. If you have 3 non-person felonies or less in your criminal history, it's presumed you'd be placed on probation if convicted. If you have 2-person felonies or more in your criminal history, it's presumed you'd be placed in prison. There's also a maximum penalty of $100,000 fine. So those are the maximum penalties. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Mr. Centeno?
Yes.
Okay. Since this is a felony charge, you won't be asked to enter a plea today. Your case has been assigned to Judge Ricky, and I'm going to place your next hearing at December 18th at 2:30 p.m. for felony preliminary hearing control in front of Judge Ricky. That will be done by Zoom. Can you afford to hire your own attorney? Mr. Centeno, can you afford to hire an attorney to represent you?
I'm screwed. I don't have anything.
That meaning you don't have any money?
I don't have anything. I don't even know how to respond to something I purchased with $10, and it's like my whole life in your hands right now.
All right. Well, Mr. Centeno, I don't want you to make any statements that could be used against you in the future. So let's not talk about the facts and circumstances of your case. Can you afford to hire an attorney, or are you saying to me you don't have any finances? All right, I'm going to appoint James Watts to represent you. You may be required to pay back some or all of his fees if you're convicted, but that way you'll have counsel representing you. We need to set a bond. Mr. Canfield, what's the state's recommendation for bond?
Your Honor, looking at the criminal history, it does appear to be.
Mr. Centeno, you need
Yes.
to remain seated. You're still in court.
There does appear to be some violent criminal history. as well as current Sedgwick County cases. For that reason, the state is requesting a $5,000 cash surety bond, as well as no drugs or alcohol.
All right, I'll set bonding the amount of $5,000 cash or surety. As a condition of bond, you're not to possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs. Mr. Centeno, if you're able to make bond, you need to call Mr. Watts's office. They should give you his contact information there at the jail. Mr. Canfield, anything further on Mr. Centeno's case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Centeno, now you are excused. Good afternoon. Are you Maureen Urinda?
Yes, I am, sir.
All right, Miss Urinda, it looks like you were picked up on a possible rape allegation, but it doesn't appear that the county attorney's office is filing charges at this time. Is that correct, Mr. Canfield?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what that means, Miss Urinda, is the state's not filing charges today. That doesn't mean that they won't file charges in the future. If you leave your a current address, phone number, contact information, if they do file charges, they may perhaps just send a summons to you to appear in court. The other option they would have is to issue an arrest warrant. So if you don't have any additional holds on you, you should be able to be released today. Do you have any questions?
No, sir, I understand.
Okay. Mr. Canfield, any additional information to present on this matter?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Urinda, you are excused. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Are you Angela Burke?
I am.
All right, Miss Burke, looks like you were arrested on some theft and drug
You
charges.
know, he gave me keys to his car and to his home.
All right, Miss Burke, just
Okay,
let me speak.
okay,
The state isn't filing charges against you at this time.
okay.
That doesn't mean they're not going to file charges in the future. They may be waiting on some additional
I understand that.
information or drug testing or so forth. So you're not being charged today, but that doesn't mean you're not going to be charged in the future.
Yes,
So be sure you leave your current contact information, address, phone number. That way, if the state does file charges,
they can find me.
they'll likely issue a summons for you to appear in court. If they're unable to find you and get you served with the summons, they'll likely issue an arrest warrant. So,
Okay,
all right. Do you have any questions?
no, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. If you don't have any other holds, you should be able to be released today.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Have a good day.
Bye. Yes. Hello.
Hi, are you Crystal Sullivan?
Yes.
All right, Miss Sullivan, it looks like you were arrested for a DUI and other traffic related matters, but it doesn't look like the state's filing charges against you at this time. Is that correct, Mr. Canfield?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, as I've told the last two individuals, just because they're not filing charges today doesn't mean that they're not going to in the future. If you'll leave your current contact information, address, phone number, they'll likely issue a summons for you to appear in court if they do file charges. If they can't track you down by summons, they'll likely issue an arrest warrant. Do you have any questions?
No,
I understand completely.
All right. Well, you'll be excused this time. You should be able to be released unless you have additional holds.
Nope, I think that's it.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Thanks.
I believe that's all that we have out here at the jail, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much.
Your Honor, I have they told me I was supposed to have a court date today. Georgia.
Yep. Well, you just happen to be next on my list.
Oh, perfect.
All right. We'll go on the record in State of Kansas versus Jorge Romero Jr., 18 CR 427. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Romero appears in person by Zoom. Give me just a second to review the notes in the file. This looks like a warrant to show cause. Is that consistent with your notes, Mr. Canfield?
It is, Judge.
All right, Mr. Romero, it's alleged that you violated the terms and conditions of your probation by failing to obey all laws and failing to pay restitution.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I don't have my lawyer here, so I asked if I could please have a continuance.
Okay, well, this is just a first appearance.
Okay.
We're not gonna get into the facts of the case at this time. I'm just going over what you're here for.
Yeah.
So this case is set in front of myself. So I'll put your case on my warrant to show cause docket. That will be done January the 12th at 2:30 p.m. Do you have something to write that date down with?
Yeah.
And that's an in-person hearing. You will need to be personally present at the Butler County Judicial Center.
Yes.
For that hearing. That will be in courtroom C on January 12th, 2024. Do you already have an attorney retained to represent you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And who's?
Mark Schonifer.
Okay. Have you contacted him about this?
Yeah, we
show cause.
Yeah, we've been going through this for over 2 years. And when was the date I was violated, or what they said I violated? Because they took me to jail twice for this charge on the same warrant. And the first time they didn't never have a court date for me, and the warrant was still out. They never took it off. And then the second time I went to jail for the same warrant, and here we are going through something.
Looks like it was originally issued in May of this year, so you can go over that with your attorney, and we can address everything that we need to on that January 12th court date.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect.
Party. I'm assuming a bond was posted. Or do you have any information regarding the bond, Mr. Canfield? He's not in custody, so I'm assuming he's been processed on it, but I don't have one in the court file.
Your Honor, the last bond I have is from January. I don't believe a bond has been set, as this was a probation revocation filed. I'm not seeing that a bond has been posted for this matter.
This is the same one that was previously. I've never violated anything other than that one. That's the only one, because I went to jail twice for it.
I'm showing a warrant to show cause back in February of 2020. And then this one today was filed in May of 2023. And it is for failure to pay, but I don't see a bond posted for this specific warrant to show cause.
I went to jail like last month for this. That's who told me to come to court.
Okay, Mr. Ramiro, what's happened is, there's been a security breach to the court's record system, so a lot of the records that we typically have access to, we don't at this stage. So a lot of this information that we would normally have available to us, we don't, such as bonds and docket notes and that sort of thing. So I assume, since you're not in custody, that a bond's been posted or you were released.
Yeah, I will.
I'm not going to order a bond when I'm unsure. I'm assuming that one's been set. Again, Mr. Canfield, I'm not doubting the information you have in your file. I just not being sure and being able to lay eyes on those records. I don't want to require the posting of additional bond. Now, that may be something that has to be worked out down the road, Mr. Ramiro, but you've appeared here today.
Yes.
So get with your attorney and get that court date to him, and then we'll try to get everything resolved in January.
All right, I appreciate that, Joe.
All right. We'll be in recess on Mr. Ramiro's case.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Mr. Howard. Good afternoon. This is State of Kansas versus Wesley Adam Howard, 21 CR 510. State appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Howard appears in person from the court on-site location. Give me a second to figure out why you're here, Mr. Howard. It looks like you're here on a warrant to show cause. Is that correct, Mr. Canfield?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Howard, it's alleged that you violated your probation by failing to report to your CSO as directed, failed to pay your fines and costs as directed, and failed to complete a batter's intervention assessment and follow the recommendations. You posted bond to be here today, so I'll approve the bond. It looks like that was a 2,500 cash or surety bond with hot rod. So I'll approve your bond. I'm going to set your case on Judge Lee's misdemeanor control docket January the 5th at 1:30 p.m. by Zoom. Do you intend to hire an attorney to represent you? That camera's muted.
I was hoping to be able to just pay my fine and talk to the prosecutor about this. The batter's intervention wasn't ever requested by Butler County. That was requested by Andover, and I'm done with that probation.
Mr. Howard, this is just a first appearance to let you know what the allegations are.
Yes, I understand.
So you'll need, if you want to visit with the prosecutor, that's something you'll have to do between now and the next hearing date, which is that January 5th at 1:30.
Yep.
Do you wish to have an attorney represent you moving forward on this?
If you want to go ahead and assign one, I'll give them a call or something.
Well, that's up to you. It looks like you had retained counsel previously. If you can afford to hire an attorney,
I'm kind of tapped out from the divorce, so.
Do you wish to apply for court-appointed counsel?
That would work, yeah.
Okay, are you currently employed?
Yep.
And where do you work?
I build houses.
Okay.
Self-employed.
You're self-employed?
Yep.
What's your approximate gross monthly income?
Here lately, it's probably been maybe 3 a month.
3,000?
Yeah.
I'll appoint Darren Patterson to represent you. Depending on what happens on your case, you may be required to pay back some or all of those fees. Do you understand that?
Yeah, is it possible to get a different one? He
He's got the
represented my,
contract. You're more than welcome to hire whoever you wish, but he's the attorney who has the contract to take these cases here in Butler County.
okay.
All right. Anything else on this case, Mr. Canfield?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Howard, do you have any additional questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be in recess. You are excused.
Thanks.
Are you Bryce Stevenson?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this is State of Kansas versus Bryce Allen Stevenson, 23 CR 405. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Stevenson appears in person from the on-site location here at the courthouse. Looks like you appear here on a summons, Mr. Stevenson. You're charged with one count alleged to have occurred on September 21st, 2022 in Butler County, Kansas, that you unlawfully obtained control over the Discover credit card belonging to an Alice Lindbergh and failed to take reasonable measures to restore to her the said property with the intent to permanently deprive her of the possession of that card. That is theft of lost or mislaid property. That is a Class A non-person misdemeanor. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
How do you intend to proceed on your case, Mr. Stevenson?
I'd like to get a court-appointed attorney.
Okay, I'm gonna enter a not guilty plea for you. So you don't have the finances to hire your own attorney?
I have a job, but I don't make enough to hire my own attorney now.
Okay, where do you work?
Sonic,
Okay, how long have you worked at Sonic?
since January,
And how much do you make each month?
about $1,200 a month.
Do you have any children that you support financially?
No.
Okay. I'll appoint Darren Patterson to represent you. You may be required to pay back some or all of his fees. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Your case will be set in front of Judge Webster on February the 12th, 2024 at 8 o'clock in the morning. Looks like we need to set a bond. Mr. Canfield, your recommendation?
State is requesting a $1,000 OR bond as well as no contact with Alice Lindbergh.
I'll order a $1,000 OR bond. You're to have no contact with Alice Lindbergh as a condition of bond. Is that going to be a problem?
No.
He'll probably need to be processed, right?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, you'll need to have your photograph and fingerprints done. They can probably make arrangements for you there to go out to the jail to do that.
Okay.
So, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, anything else, Mr. Canfield?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you are excused, Mr. Stevenson. Thank you.
And Judge, I'm sorry, I just got an email from Patterson's office on Mr. Howard, and they do have a conflict with him.
Okay, is Mr. Howard still in the building?
Negative, he has left. I did advise him if there was a conflict that someone would be in contact with him to advise who the attorney would be.
Okay. All right, are you Jack Crosby?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, next case on the docket is State of Kansas versus Jack Thomas Crosby, 23 TR 3090. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Crosby appears in person from the Butler County on-site location. You're here for a first appearance, Mr. Crosby. There are 2 charges, each alleged to have occurred on December 17th, 2022 in Butler County, Kansas. Count 1, you're charged with fleeing or attempting to elude an officer by engaging in reckless driving. That is a level 9 person felony. Count 2, you're charged with no valid driver's license. That is a class B non-person misdemeanor. Do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old are you, Mr. Crosby?
I'm 17.
So as a TR case, this will stay upstairs.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Crosby, your case has been assigned to me. Your next hearing will be January the 8th at 2:30 in the afternoon by Zoom. January the 8th at 2:30. Do you have the finances to hire your own attorney?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to appoint counsel to represent you. As a juvenile, are there any special provisions on our contract on who I have to appoint?
Your Honor, I'm actually not sure about the appointment list. I know traffic cases for juveniles are processed as traffic cases and not juvenile cases. So I believe that Mr. Watts could be appointed to this, although Stephanie Hughes is typically appointed on most JV issues.
All right, Angela, do you have any guidance on who I would need to appoint?
I do not, Judge, sorry.
I'm going to appoint James Watts to represent you. Does he have any other matters pending with the court in any other division or?
I'm taking a look now, Your Honor.
He's a child in need of care case he has going on.
Does he have an attorney representing him in that case?
I think just the GAL. I don't think there's an attorney.
Okay, I don't think the GAL can be a GAL and represent him in a criminal matter. So I'll appoint James Watts. And you all will be able to help him make contact with Mr. Watts?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and bond, Mr. Canfield?
State is requesting a $2,500 OR bond, Your Honor.
All right, that'll be the order of the court. $2,500 OR bond. All right. Any other matters we need to address with Mr. Crosby's case at this point?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Crosby, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be in recess. Thank you. Mr. Swift?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is State of Kansas versus Bobby Joe Swift, 20 CR 69. State appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Swift appears in person from the courthouse on-site location. Mr. Swift, it looks like you appear on a warrant to show cause. Is that what you're showing, Mr. Canfield?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's alleged that you failed to report since August 2023. Excuse me, and that you failed to contact your ISO and that your ISO hasn't been able to reach you. Also alleges that you were directed to complete alcohol and drug treatment and failed to do so. So those are the probation allegations, Mr. Swift. Looks like Judge Satterfield has your case, so I'm going to set this in front of her on December 27th at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yes, sir.
And she's doing those in person, correct?
Yes, Judge.
All right, you'll need to appear in Judge Satterfield's courtroom upstairs.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Swift, December 27th at 2:30. Now, do you intend to hire an attorney to represent you?
I don't have the money to.
Okay, is your financial situation still the same
Yes,
as
sir.
when you were placed on probation?
Correct.
And was Gerard Scott representing you?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to reappoint Gerard Scott to represent you on this matter. Do you know how to get a hold of him?
I do. I'm not sure. I can pull up. I have it on my phone, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, if you, for some reason you don't, just call up. Surely somebody has his phone number here at the courthouse, can give you the phone number if you don't have it.
Yes, sir.
All right, who's your probation officer?
Ken Clausen.
Have you been-
I talked to him today, actually. I'm going to see him as soon as I leave here.
Okay, that's probably a pretty good idea.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, Mr. Canfield, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Swift, you are excused. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'll approve your bond. Good afternoon. Are you Jonathan Harrington?
Yes, sir.
All right, next case on the docket is State of Kansas versus Jonathan Harrington. 22 CR 319. The state appears by Devin Canfield. Mr. Harrington appears in person from the Butler County on-site location. Give me just a second, Mr. Harrington. I'm assuming we're here on a warrant to show cause, Mr. Canfield,
Yes, Your Honor.
and The most recent one I see in the court file was filed back in June of 2023. Is that the one we're operating from?
I believe so, yes, Your Honor.
I actually bonded out on that case, back in June and actually seen Judge Satterfield August 11th on that same show cause warrant.
So, Your Honor, I do see a note that there was a hearing back in August. I don't know if this is reports haven't gotten to me because of systems being down or what that is, but I don't see any filings other than the one from back in April.
And that's the one that I had received. Is the one was back from June that they filed, which I told them I had finished that already, but I had to bond out on the same thing again. So I was kind of
Right.
confused.
I see a docket note here. If you'll give me just a second. Judge Satterfield's handwriting takes a few minutes to decipher, so let me try to read this. Well, it appears there was a stipulation to violations that day. 2-day sanction, reinstate, resume treatment.
No, she didn't. She never gave me a sanction. She actually said she doesn't do that with people, and that she was going to give me that chance to prove, well, not to let her down. But since then, I have been in treatment and I have been doing what she's asked me to do from then. And they had extended my Senate bill case to July 24th of 24.
Okay, well, there's already a journal entry here in the file, so let me look at that. Well, it does say the defendant is placed back on probation with no sanction ordered.
Judge, if I may,
You may.
Ed Ketley just emailed and said that a new warrant was issued on 10/25 of 23.
Okay. Is there any way I can get a copy of that?
I will call him right now, see if I can get it.
And Your Honor, I was just informed that my office contacted both the clerks and CSO, and neither one was able to provide us a copy. So I don't know if that is we sent it over and we're waiting for signatures or what is going on with that.
Okay. Well, let's wait a minute or two to see if Angela is able to track anything down.
He's gonna either email that to me here real quick, Judge.
Okay. So you were picked up, looks like Mr. Harrington, on this new warrant on November 2nd
Yes, sir.
and posted this bond to be here today.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now things are making sense. All right, I have the warrant to show cause here in front of me. Mr. Harrington, the allegations in this warrant are that on August 11th, the defendant stayed the night in Wichita, Kansas, rather than his reported address in Great Bend, Kansas. The defendant did not have permission from his Central Kansas Community Corrections ISO to travel to Wichita. Number two, on September 14th, 2023, the defendant submitted a urine sample to Sedgwick County Pretrial Services that was positive for alcohol, ETG. The defendant signed a statement of admittance to having consumed alcohol on September 13th, 2023. On October 12th, 2023, the defendant signed a statement of admittance to having consumed alcohol on October 11th, 2023. So those are the current allegations. You did post the bond for $3,000. You have appeared here today. Your next court date is December 27th at 2:30 p.m. in front of Judge Satterfield. That's an in-person hearing upstairs in her courtroom. It looks like Joe Fabre has been representing you on the case.
Yes, sir.
I'll reappoint him to represent you on this round. As you're probably aware, you may be ordered to pay back some or all of his fees depending on what happens at your next court date.
Yes, sir.
As a condition of bond, you're not to possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs. That's actually pretty redundant since that's the conditions of your probation and the reason why you're back before the court. So have you been in recent contact with, is Mr. Catley your probation officer?
I call him once a week.
Okay, so you've talked to him recently?
Yes, I talked to him the day after I had bonded out.
Okay, well, it's probably a pretty good idea to continue to stay in contact with him between now and your next court date.
Yes, sir.
All right, anything else on this case, Mr. Canfield?
No, Your Honor.
All right, do you have any questions, Mr. Harrington?
No, sir.
I would suggest, or I'm going to order you to call Joe Fabre, just to give him your recent contact information and court information.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll be in recess. All right, Mr. Canfield, that's the last case I see on my list. Do you have anything else?
I do not.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Spickler.
Nope, everything's